Chew on This, where we practice theology as a community in the reality of our messy lives. This discussion comes from our Maranatha Forest Lake Wednesday Night Church, the pastoral preaching notes, and the live large group discussion these notes prompted, something we like to call a community-based learning experience. Pastor Orlean, your host, has been ministering as part of Maranatha since the inception of the church almost 45 years ago. She loves studying God's Word, sharing what she has learned, and encouraging all to chew on this with Jesus and others. Along with her passion for Jesus and solid theology, she loves spending time with family, hiking in the woods, and taking curious and peculiar pictures. So come on, chew on this with us.
What does the 4th of July mean to you? I mean, has you ever been asked that question? Have you ever even thought of that question? What does the 4th of July mean to you? Welcome to Monday's Conversations edition of Chew on This. This is Pastor Orlean Hasseltine, one of the executive pastors here at Maranatha, along with our pastor of discipleship, who once again is doubling as our producer, Pastor Michelle Ingram. And both of us, thank you so much for joining us this Monday for the first half of our Conversations on Chew on This. The second half will be broadcast on Tuesday at noon right here on WAJC Your Life Radio 91.7 FM. Today we have special guests in our studio, and one of them is known to go off course, no, to go off-road. There we go. And we are really excited to have guests in our studio as we're having a conversation on an understanding of the 4th of July. An understanding of the 4th of July. With that, I would like to introduce our guest. I would like to say good day to Diane Kinney. They will be introducing themselves when they are interviewed by my beloved spouse, who is also the one who goes a little off-road, but Diane Kinney is here, and then also John Horgan is here. And here you go. I will just put this in here now. If I say the word baby or anything like that, I'm referring to my spouse, so no one else
Hey.
I don't mean to do that.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't mean to do that, but sometimes, especially because I can see you face on right now.
Hi, baby.
It's like, hey, babe, could you introduce yourself? And
Well, you kind of already did.
Well, they kind of need to know who you are.
Yeah, well,
if they don't recognize
obviously
your
I'm
voice.
the senior pastor, been here for 44 years.
Yeah, you are Pastor Mike to most people around this territory in this area. Yes.
Yep. People say, "What do you want to be called?" And I go, "Everybody calls me Pastor Mike." It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So, hey, this special edition of Chew on This, it's great to be able to be here, to be invited to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And then the special guest that we have, as we're talking about the 4th of July, talking about this great country celebrating 250 years.
Yes, we are. Yes.
This is a great nation. Do you realize that America is the only country in the world that has operated for even more than 150 years under the same governing document? Mm-hmm. It is amazing. Every other country has had revolution after revolution after revolution. America came the closest to that, obviously, in the horrible, bloody Civil War, where the country almost did not stay the United States. But praise God, by divine providence, here we are, operating and conducting ourselves under the same document. I mean, it is amazing.
Yes.
And whenever we as Americans think, at Maranatha here, we are very, very patriotic. I am very appreciative of our military. And somebody is in the service, if they're enlisting or if they're getting shipped off or else, I don't even got to ask the congregation to stand. I just mention, hey, so-and-so has happened, this is what's happening, and everybody always stands and applauds. If somebody just returns home on deployment or something like that, same thing. All I got to do is announce that they're here, and the whole congregation just kind of goes wild.
And the way it should be.
I think so too.
This natural understanding. We don't get a document that lasts that long. We don't get 4th of July celebrations that are so continual without the individuals. We have two here in the studio today, but also the individuals that we stand for when they come on a Sunday.
Yeah, people always talk about why people enlist in the service. Why would people go to war? Why would they be willing to do that and put their life on the line? And when you talk to service people, the answer you will hear from them is almost always for their buddy, for their comrades, their platoon mates, their people that they're with. That's what they're there fighting for. But that's not usually what got them there. And I'm going to ask our guests what got them there, because usually it's the ideals of a country.
Yes.
The idea of freedom.
Yeah.
vote. The morality structure of a country. That's what people are fighting for and willing to put their life on the line for. And that's why when World War I, World War II, some of these big wars, when Pearl Harbor got bombed, Americans drove to the recruitment stations. Why? How could somebody inflict damage and harm on this nation? Not Iraqi freedom.
When the towers
came, same thing. People enlisted by the drove. So we haven't had an enlistment, a draft since like Vietnam. Yeah, we haven't had a draft. So you guys are not that old. Well, no, you're not. You may be close. You were in Vietnam?
Well,
you're right on the tail end of that.
I'm 2 weeks shy of being Vietnam.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Okay. Wow, you don't look a day over 12. No, I'm just
on the radio. I don't.
But people enlist. So let's just get started. I'm going to ask you guys just some of the cursory questions. So Diane, you're sitting to my left, so I will go to you first. Everything in our country goes from left to right, right? For some reason, I don't know. We read left to right. Everything goes from left to right. So Diane, what military branch were you in?
I was in the Army.
In the Army.
And specifically at that time, I was in the Women's Army Corps.
The Women's Army Corps. Explain that a little bit. I don't understand what that is.
Abbreviation is WACS, and it was formed in 1942 from the Women's Auxiliary Corps, and they formed it as a Women's Army Corps, which made it part of the regular Army then. And then in 1979, I believe, is when they were disbanded, and we were officially part of the regular Army.
Oh, wow.
So it was a chance for the women to serve, but not necessarily be with the guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did not realize that. What was your length of service?
I was 2 years active duty and 8 years as an Army reservist.
Oh, that's pretty wild.
It was fun.
So 2 years of active duty, where were you? Stationed or serving or basic training and all that stuff?
Well, I joined the Army to see the world, and I saw Fort Riley, Kansas.
Oh, gosh. So you never really did get a chance to travel the world in any shape or form?
Not until I got into my reserve unit and we went down to Puerto Rico.
Okay, Puerto Rico. Yeah. I like Puerto Rico in the sense that you're still in an American territory.
Yeah.
Everything is English. You're using American currency. Puerto Rico, I like that. So, John,
Yes.
What branch of service did you serve in?
I was in the Air Force.
You were in the Air Force?
Yes.
Okay. And how long were you in the Air Force?
I did 17 years.
Holy cow, 17 years?
Yep. All active duty, 17 years.
No kidding.
Yeah. And your typical career is 20 years, but at the time they were doing force shaping. So in my career field, we had too many E6s, and that's why I was a technical sergeant. So basically my name got pulled from my hat, and they said, you got to go. Tried to fight it, didn't work. So I ended up retiring at 17 years.
At 17 years.
Yep.
Yeah. So were you able to maintain the same, pension and retirement benefits?
It was prorated.
Prorated a little bit, 3 years difference?
Yeah. So I get it's like 80%
okay.
of what I would normally get. So
okay.
If I had stayed for a full 20.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about so where have you been, or were you traveling around, or were you stuck in Kansas like Diane?
No, man. I've driven through Kansas. No, so I ended up when I went to basic training in San Antonio, Texas. That's like it was like a 6-week ordeal. Then I went to what's it called, Wichita Falls, Texas, for my first technical school, and then I ended up getting stationed in Oklahoma at Tinker Air Force Base there in Oklahoma City, and I was there for about 4 years. And at the time I was aircraft fuel systems maintenance. So I worked on the AWACS.
Okay.
The plane with the big, looks like an Oreo cookie on the top of it that turns.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I worked on one of those, and I crawled around in fuel tanks for a living.
No kidding.
Yeah. Not fun, but yes, I did. And then after that, I decided, well, this job really isn't for me. So then I cross-trained, because you get a certain window where you can cross-train. So then I cross-trained over into bioenvironmental engineering, which is kind of like OSHA for the military.
Okay.
And then I went from Oklahoma to Florida, the Panhandle of Florida, and I was there for almost 9 years, which is unusual for anybody on active duty because usually you're moving around,
yeah.
3, 4, 5 years at the most. So I was doing what you call homesteading, and then after that, I actually ended up getting orders to Okinawa, Japan, and that's where I wrapped up my career. It was over there.
It was over in Japan.
Yep.
Wow. That's very interesting. So little diversions here. A good friend of mine here at church, Jay Falk, he was in the Air Force as well, and he worked on all these planes and all that. You guys ever talked?
I don't think so.
No? Really?
No.
Okay, well, do you know who Jay is?
Do I know who he is? I'm not off the top of my head, but I've probably seen him.
I'll have to point him out to you, and you guys have to talk.
Hey,
Yeah,
we,
for sure.
we have a picture of Jay out here.
Oh, you do? Yes, you
He's
do.
holding the dog, but you'll recognize him.
Okay.
Oh, my
You have to
gosh.
show me on the break then.
Oh, man. So, what and either one of you can go first. What first initiated or prompted you to enlist into the service? Like I said, it wasn't a draft. You enlisted, and you went in there. So what motivated you to do that?
I wish I could say it was patriotism, but it wasn't.
It was a paycheck. Patriotism, paycheck.
I grew up in Hudson was a small town at the time, and I knew that if I stayed in Hudson, I wouldn't get to college, and I'd probably end up scribbling floors and doing dishes for somebody else. And I was like, that's not for me. And so I started looking at the military.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
So that obviously leads right into another question, follow-up question. Why the Army?
Well, I looked at the Marines, and they were too tough.
And they were ugly, right?
They were ugly,
no, Marines
yeah.
are ugly. Oh, God.
Definitely.
Marines are ugly. These Army guys, they're good-looking guys.
Well,
what about the Air Force guys?
Well,
They're pretty good-looking, too, you know?
I looked at the Air Force and Navy, and sorry, John, they were too wimpy.
Oh, okay, that's what you thought, huh? You thought this idea of true military,
man.
tough
Wow.
guys, wow.
And so that left the Army.
That left the Army. Wow.
Yeah.
You know,
Process of
you know what's
elimination.
really great is this, human stories. I mean, this is real life, what you're going through your head. So, okay, so John, so why did you enlist? Well, I mean, again, there's no draft.
Right. So I went in '98. So at the time, it was a combination of things. So one, I grew up around a lot of military-inspired things. Like my dad was a World War II nut, loved everything World War II. So I was exposed to a lot of World War II movies and building model airplanes and all that kind of stuff. And then both of my grandfathers served in World War II, and then my great-grandfather served in World War I. So I've had a lot of
heritage there.
military heritage and influence throughout my life. So I was fascinated and maybe even a little enthralled with the military from a very young age. And then, as I got older, the idea of going in the military kind of fell away for a little bit. Then I met my wife, and we were planning on getting married and everything, and it was kind of like, well, what am I going to do? Because we were working retail jobs.
Yeah.
And, it's like, well, that's not really a career. It doesn't really pay the bills. So part of it was patriotism, and part of it was, sustainment for, our family to be, so to speak. So,
Wow. That's amazing. So you met your wife before you went into the military?
Yes.
You went in the military as a married person?
correct, yes.
And then did your wife, I think I know the answer to this question, she was in the military as well?
She was not.
She was not?
No, so we
wrong.
got married 10 days before I went into the military.
Oh my gosh. Did anybody advise you saying, hey, this is really not the best idea?
No.
Nobody said,
Nobody
put
did.
the brakes on and slow down?
Yeah, no. So, we got married, went on our honeymoon, and then
military.
And then I
You're like,
kissed
see
her
you later,
goodbye
honey.
and said, see you later, sweetie, and that was it.
Oh my gosh.
And she stayed with you.
Yeah, she did, amazingly.
Oh, no, I don't see it as that. I see her having the same heart for patriotism. The understanding
Yes.
of what this is it is your life. And marrying you, she knew that was a decision being made. So just like your decisions, both of yours, to this is going to be part of my life, for whatever reason you get there, it's like this will be it. And it involves, it's not quote unquote a lifestyle. It is your life. It is the foundation of everything you do for that period of time. But even though you can't verbalize it, because you guys are pretty young, especially now at the ages we all are, I think looking back, there had to be something in Julie that there's this thing that, this is the life we're going to build together. These are the stones we're going to get. They're going to be given to us here. So, yeah, I don't think anybody would have been able to talk them out of it.
And also, to her credit, her dad was a career Navy.
Oh, so she had a huge
So
understanding.
she understood, I think, on a deeper level than a lot of individuals do, because if she'd never had any exposure to that, I don't think she would have been able to fully embrace it.
Correct. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's quite an exposure.
Yeah. So, so Diane, have you ever been married? I don't know the answer to this question.
No.
Okay. So, well, I have a bit of.
I've got a reason for that.
I do too. I have a reason. It's because you joined the WACs. You were a bunch of women.
Well,
how are you going to meet these handsome, Army guys?
We served with the men.
Oh, you did?
We were not isolated.
Oh, okay. Just none were that good looking? Well, there is no such thing as a good looking guy, by the way, just so you know.
The Lord just protected me.
Oh, okay.
And my reason is that most men don't want to marry an ex-Army sergeant.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow, getting bossed around. Yeah, the whole idea of that.
None of them were smart enough to sucker you into marrying him. Is that what it was?
Basically, yeah.
You saw through their lies. You saw through their lies. We lied to get them to marry us. So, Pastor Michelle, twisting the knobs and buttons back here today, she has a couple kids that were in the military. Just really quickly, kind of from your point of view, being a parent of somebody who's in the military, tell us really quick, what two kids, if you can, and what branches they were in, and what was that like for you?
There were three.
Three.
Yep. And it's funny because my mother was a WAC also. That's how she met my dad.
Oh,
he
very
was
cool.
a Marine, and she was a WAC. She was in the Navy though.
Yeah.
And
She was a wave.
Yep, she was a wave. Yes.
Yes.
And he was her a drill instructor. And that's how they met and got married.
That wasn't supposed to happen.
I know it wasn't. And then I had two brothers that were both in the Navy. So we are, too, a military family. So I have a son who was in the Army. And he really, from the time he was very young, wanted to do that. Just loved country and service. And you could see he just had that protector, service kind of heart inside of him. Still does. And then I had a daughter who went in the Navy. And then I had another daughter who went in the Army, and my son-in-law was also in the Navy. So all three of them were in the military. My son was he was stationed in Afghanistan, his original station was in Germany, and then he went from Germany to Afghanistan, and then back, and then down in Texas, Fort Hood. And and I can remember when he went in and joining up. And there's the two parts of you. I'm so proud of him. So proud of all of them going in.
Yep.
And so it's so hard because you have every illusion of control, every illusion of anything is gone. They are now owned by somebody else. And it's a whole other way of life. It is. They own your body, they own you, and you get to do what they tell you to do. But very proud of all three of them. Served with distinction, did a great job. And have come out of the military and had their careers and their families and all kinds of wonderful things.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think in America we kind of, there's a wanderlust, kind of this mystical idealization of being in the military.
Yes.
It's just you're this bad. Mm-hmm. It just is cool stuff. It's you got guns and you get to go protect the country and take on the enemy, and there's that kind of wanderlust and all that. But I run into people all the time who almost apologize to me. They go, because I thank them for their service. They go, oh, don't thank me. I was kind of a screw up.
Yeah.
I was never in combat. I was never, and I always tell them, no. Still, thank you. Mm-hmm. Because of what you just said, once you enlist, you are the property of the United States government.
Yep.
You basically handed your life as a blank check to them. They could do whatever they wanted with it.
Yes.
So, praise God, you didn't have to be in combat or wherever else. But you know something? You were willing to.
Yeah. Yep.
And for that, I think we ought to always just be grateful for every single service person we meet, whether they think they were a screw-off, a screwball or not.
Well, and
thank you.
And the families, because the wives, the kids, we have some that are around here. When they are deployed, the family holds them together. and the people who support them and all of that. And they do become their own community if you're stationed somewhere else. They really are a family union. They become a unit.
Especially overseas, that environment exists. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we have a staff person whose husband was gone for a year, a couple times on deployment, and just to watch and to be, kind of on the fringe support for her as a staff, and as a congregation. Notice that it's a beneficial thing, but there's no substitute, obviously, for your spouse being gone. So, John, you got married 10 days before you went in this service. That just cracks me up. And so what was life like for your wife or you being married and now you're gone? What was that like?
For me, it was just doing my job when I was gone, because I had several deployments during my active duty time. So, I've been to Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Bahrain, Oman, Qatar. I mean, I've been several different places. Some of them awesome, some of them not so awesome. I've been to Iraq, so there's
some of these places you named, just to interrupt you, I'm sorry, are hot.
Yes, very hot.
I would melt. I'd be a grease spot out in the sand
like walking
somewhere.
Onto a blast oven.
Oh, okay, continue.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
White chocolate melts too, right?
Yeah.
So. But so for me, it was just my day-to-day doing my job. But at the same time, I knew, like, my wife, she had things on lockdown. Now, luckily, maybe not so luckily, for the first 8 years we were married, we didn't have any kids.
Right.
So my oldest, she wasn't born until we were 8 years into my career and 8 years into our marriage. So we had a lot of time together to bond and things like that. So I think that really helped strengthen the core of our marriage. And then when our first child came along and I deployed shortly after she was born, that was probably one of the most difficult deployments I ever went on, because I was missing a lot of the firsts in her life and stuff, because she was still very young. So, but I always knew that when I would come back, like, she would have things on lockdown. The hard part was reintegrating, because she had her own system down. She had the way she was doing things down and everything else. So,
and all of a sudden you show up,
and
as
I
an
show
intruder.
up, and I'm like, messing everything up suddenly. So, it's just being able to learn how to reintegrate and reacquaint myself with her and life together again.
There again, there's that wanderlust, this idealism that, he or she is home and everything's going to be wonderful. And
I mean, there is that aspect to
there's
it.
parts of it, the emotional and all that. But you're right, to get reacclimated to normal home life, I think, and that's part of the reason why among our veterans, suicide is such a huge epidemic. Yes. They just can't get readjusted back into to normal everyday life.
Yeah, the statistic is like 22 a day, is what they say.
22 a day. That ought to just make us pause and go, oh my gosh.
Well, speaking of pause, we're going to pause here for a station break in just a moment. But we do have, because this topic came up right now instead of later in the second half, I want to make sure that we do bring up the support network we have here for veterans. Because this honoring the 4th of July and honoring veterans and honoring the military isn't just something we verbalize here. It is part of our culture, and thankfully Diane and John, they are part of a ministry here that is just a support network for all military. It is, if we know you, Diane, you've been doing this for a bazillion years. But we're going to take a moment here, we're going to break for a station identification, and then we're going to come back, and Mick, that's my husband, Pastor Mike, you can pick up the conversation, but we want to make sure that we end up including that here in the second half.
No, we will.
Such great discussion and content makes you want to dig in even more to the Word. We'll get right back to it shortly. In the meantime, here's more information about the church and where to find this show and many others like it.
Maranatha has campuses in Forest Lake, Minnesota, and Chisago Lakes, Minnesota. We have been serving our communities for decades, well over 40 years of loving God and loving people. Enjoy what you're hearing here? Visit yourliferadio.com for links to our other radio shows.
We would love to have you join us at one of our Maranatha campuses. Visit yourliferadio.com for links to both of our campuses for more detailed information. Now, back to chew on this.
Hey, welcome back. And I'm not sure if my wife was going to greet us back because it's her show that I'm intruding on and having the chance to be a guest at.
Never an intruder.
Never an intruder. Okay,
Nope.
Good. That's fantastic. So we are interviewing, we got some special guests here from church, Diane Kinney and John Horgan. Diane served in the Army, and John Horgan served in the Air Force. And it's just great to have you guys around. And we're really having this show in honor of 250 years of America, and realizing that without our servicemen and women, we wouldn't have the freedom that we have here. And we say that often, but it is so very true. And you don't understand it until you sit down and talk to people like you. Understand the cost to the family when you are deployed, and all the stuff like that. Excuse me. So this can be a little more philosophical. It's like, ooh, you gotta test your noodles.
Well, we should have some background music.
Yeah,
for
we
that.
should.
Ooh,
Just kind of whatever rolls. But, again, it's a little esoteric in a sense that is whatever to whatever, anybody. Are there life truths that you've learned from your service? Are there things that you've learned, or because you've been a part of the service, that has really shaped you fundamentally to a life lesson, if you will? Is there things in the military? Maybe one of them is, I don't ever want to go back. No, I'm just.
There's a discipline in your life that a lot of times with civilians, you see a civilian doing something and you're just sitting there like, why aren't they following in line and doing it this way? And all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's the military part of me. And sometimes that can bring a little bit of tension into a veteran's life, and when you see a civilian goofing off and not standing in line properly, or it's just little things like that.
Disrespecting authority, I would think, would be a big thing.
Disrespecting authority,
because I know this: when a police officer tells me to stop, guess what I do?
Stop.
I stop. I don't question his authority. I don't question, why are you stopping me? No, if a police officer says stop, I stop. And I think that's one of the benefits of being in the military is rules. You understand rules. You understand authority structure,
rules, regulations. And it's kind of going back to what Diane was saying. Like, you see a civilian doing certain things. So like for me, one of the biggest things is like this, if they're playing the national anthem, right? You're supposed to stand still and be respectful. Put your hand on your heart. I stand at attention because it's just whatever. But do something that signifies you're respecting the country and the flag, at that moment in time. Yep. And it's not a super long song. They don't actually play the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So,
And
when I see a civilian standing there and they're goofing off and they're looking around and they're scratching their nose or whatever, it's like, just
have respect.
Take a moment and just be respectful for the country.
Well, when I see somebody that's sitting during the national anthem, I literally want to go up and slap them upside the head and say, stand up.
Well, the whole Kaepernick thing, the football player, and there's that whole thing about, kneeling and not standing and all that. I'm not sure if this sounds very nice, but I'm not always very nice. Neither was Jesus. He made a whip. He drove some money changers out. He said, I didn't come to bring peace, but a sword. I mean, there are elements where you need to. I'm like, hey, you're fired. Get out of here.
Yes.
Yep. You're fired. Just get out of here. You're not going to stand and respect this country that has given you so much. You're making multi-million dollars entertaining people. You're not saving lives or anything. And you're not going to stand. Okay, so.
It's a matter of respect, too, because, he's not just disrespecting the current people that are serving, but he's disrespecting 250 years
of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All those in the past. Okay, now you two are going to be. You are going to know I'm a little. Well, you already know I'm a little weird, but I'm going to let you know exactly how weird I am when it comes to this idea of patriotism. I'm at home on Sunday in my garage. The NASCAR race starts. There's nobody in my garage. The national anthem, they're getting ready to play it. I stand up.
I'm proud of you.
I am in my garage by myself.
That's awesome.
I'm not trying to impress anybody. In fact, now I almost feel like I'm, kind of, maybe I'm looking for glory because I'm telling the story. I'm not. I'm just letting you know. I am in my garage, oftentimes with tears, by myself, hand over my heart during this broadcast.
That's pretty
It's
cool.
amazing. Yeah. So that's why, like you, I haven't been in the military, but when I see people not doing that kind of stuff.
Well, I think in our society we've lost the ability to differentiate between endorse and support. The
Yes.
endorse and respect. Endorse and respect. you have to respect the foundation that got you to the place where you can disagree publicly. And the different avenues of disagreement. I mean, the open door to whomever comes. I mean, the whole concept of who we are and how long it's lasted, you can respect that. Doesn't mean that you're endorsing it, but standing up and honoring the flag and honoring that. It is just, I'm so glad I'm in a place where my voice matters.
Yeah, you can
Period.
vote, you can protest, and all that. That's what standing for that flag represents.
Yep.
The freedom you have to do that. Other countries, guess what? When Stalin took over, he wiped out over 1 million of his people. Anybody that disagreed, he killed 1 million of his own people.
Yes.
Right.
And people that like to try to compare Trump or any one of our presidents, whenever they've exercised any kind of a,
Something they don't like.
something they don't like,
Yeah.
it's, oh, he's so horrible, it's like, no, you don't understand horrible.
Yeah. Well, and I think the problem is things have become so overly politicized that, there's a difference to me between supporting the president and supporting the country.
Yep.
You should support the country no matter who the president is.
Who is.
I don't
Yes.
care if he's the worst thing since whoever. But support the country, support the the veterans, the military, regardless. And and I think that a lot of people, they wear their politics on their sleeve, so they lose that ability to reason and say, okay, I'm going to support the military. I'm going to stand when the national anthem is played, no matter who's sitting in the White House, because that should be regardless of what's going on
Absolutely.
in the country, and whatever flavor of politics you take on, have respect for the military, have respect for the country.
Suck it up.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, really, you live in this country. Yeah. Crazy. Diane, anything else to say? No, you're good? Okay, so let me. We're just gonna keep rolling. I got some questions here for you as well. You talked about it a little bit, but not specifically in this light. Asking you about what you learned in the service. But is there? This question has more to do with was there things that you were able to bring home and you've applied to your life or your work? Or was it truly just a military kind of thing? Or was there that experience? How has that affected your work or your life since then?
There's a discipline there that some people just never pick up. It's like I've got task A, and so I need to complete task A, and task B may come in and interrupt task A, but I'm going to complete both tasks and get them done properly.
Just get it
efficiently.
done. Might be hard, but I'll do hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ability to suck it up, like work's not always easy. It's like just suck it up, push through it.
Yeah.
And it's civilians whine. That's the other part of it.
Yes.
They love to whine.
What are you saying?
Oh, the coffee machine's broken at work this morning. I couldn't get to, I couldn't get my donut or whatever. They whine about the goofiest things, and it's like, did you wake up this morning? Are you able to still fog a mirror?
Yeah.
Everything's good.
Yep.
And so push on with your day. So what? You didn't get your coffee this morning. Go to the gas station, get yourself a little, bottled Starbucks, and you'll be fine.
My brother, I have 3 younger brothers, and one of my brothers, he said one time, he said, I'm tired of hearing anybody complain about anything. He said, nobody, we are never within 100 yards away from a glass of water.
That's right.
I mean, think about it,
Absolutely.
just put it in perspective. It's like none of us are drying up, starving, and again, I get there's poverty and there's starvation, food issues. There's a lot of reasons which we're not going to delve into. But the reality, big picture, you're never more than very, very short distance away from a clean glass of water.
Right.
Hello?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so yeah, what really is there to complain
Well, that's
about?
why I always say that Americans should travel abroad,
Yes.
because then you get to see the world from a different perspective.
Yeah.
I agree. And that's like, oh boy, here we go. You go to another country, if you're not there legally, guess what they do? They get you out of there. You're right, exactly, John. You couldn't see 'cause it's radio, but John had his thumb up and go like, get out of here.
Yes. Yep.
Yes, but we've also seen when we've been in other countries, one of the organizations we were visiting, if you came there not as an immigrant, that organization if you wanted to, they, without charge, they help connect you into that. That if you want to be here, here is the way to go, and we will make sure that so you're not out there meandering and wandering and trying to hide. It's like, nope, let's get you in the process. Let's get you in the chain of things. Yeah. And it was a really small country we were in. I was shocked. We were there for that reason. It was just something we noticed that they were doing. And I've asked a few. I haven't found any yet, so I'll just throw it out there online. I'd love to know if we do have a volunteer organization that does that. Because if you are going to complain about anything going on here, especially in the state of Minnesota in the past year, that is our answer. We need to have a clear, beginning, easy shoot into that process that doesn't cost any money but gets you acclimated. And once you're in the process, that's what it's for. That's what it means to be in America.
Absolutely.
Anyway, end of my commercial break.
Wow, I'm standing at attention inside, honey.
Yeah, I know.
I'm standing at attention.
Oh my!
Well,
We do. We preach at each other home all the time. Can
Yeah,
you
we do.
believe this?
If I may, a quick little story about immigration. So when I was in the Air Force, we were in Qatar and we were trying to get to Iraq because that was our pass through, right? So there were several times where we tried to get to Iraq. So one of them we actually got onto a plane. We flew to Iraq. There was a sandstorm so bad that they couldn't land. So we had to fly back to Qatar. So, and when you, even as military, you have to emigrate from countries. So, and they do all the paperwork and everything else. Well, one of those times they screwed up our paperwork. So when we went to Iraq. We eventually, did our whole tour there. Then we went back to Qatar to leave the region and come back to the States. Well, when they messed up our paperwork, and it was for like 25 people, they messed up our paperwork. Apparently, we didn't successfully emigrate from the country of Qatar. So Qatar told the United States Air Force that you will pay $10,000 per violation per day until you get these people out of here. They got us on a plane within 24 hours because they're like, we're not paying, what is that, $250,000 or whatever it is per day. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So and we weren't slated to leave. I think we were supposed to be there for like 3 days or a week or something.
I think people should be able to feel free to go wherever they want, but you got to follow the rules. You got to become a citizen. You got to follow the rules. Like you guys, even there, in the military, that's a great story to hear.
Yeah.
Because I just assumed as military, we go wherever we want.
Yeah, we get a free
Doesn't
pass.
work that way.
Nope.
Wow. That's
because you still have to respect the sovereign nation, so you still have to respect their rules.
Yep. What a concept. Could you say that again? You have to respect the sovereign nation?
Yeah, you have to respect the sovereign nation's rules.
Yep.
Their laws.
Gee, what a concept.
Hey, it's gotten us to 250 years, so we just got to keep
doing our best.
Keep loving and keep working in that direction.
That's true. So I know both of you fairly well, and I do know that you personally have a living, ongoing, life-giving relationship with God through Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is your Savior. You love Him. You walk with Him. Where and when did that take place in your life? I'm just kind of curious. Did it happen influenced or why? Was it in the military? Was it before you went in the military? Was it after the military? So tell us a little bit of that story of your life.
For me, it was in the military. Our chaplain's assistants were, and this is just part of what happens in the military, that were assigned to our company all lived in the battalion barracks, and so the battalion commander decided that they all needed to live with the company they were assigned to, and it's a snafu is what it's called.
Look it up if you don't know what it is.
We won't say that on air. And so this chaplain assistant happened to be a female, moved in next door to me, and I was not one of the people that went out partying or chasing after the guys, obviously. And so we had similar values. And so one day I had my first brand new car, Pontiac Sprint with a 350. And I said, let's go to the movie. She said, can we pick up all the other chaplain's assistants? And of course, at that age, you pack out a car really good to get everybody in. And we got there a half hour early. And the guy next to me all of a sudden started talking about God and Jesus. And I'm sitting there like, this guy's either in a cult or he's very strange. And I'm like, I'll just let him talk and then we'll go to the movie. And then all of a sudden he turns to me, he says, well, wouldn't you like to accept Jesus as Lord and Savior? And I'm thinking,
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. If I say yes to this, we'll just go to the movie. And so I said yes. Oh, good. Pray after me. And I'm sitting there panicking. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't mean the Hail Mary, the Lord's Prayer, or the Apostles' Creed. That's the only prayer I know. If I tell him I don't know how to pray, we'll go to the movie. Are you getting a theme here?
Yeah.
And he said, oh, no problem. Just pray after me. I'm like, oh, brother, I'm in trouble now. And so I did. And God in his great wisdom honored that.
Wow.
And so then I was still active duty at the time, about ready to get off active duty. I had to decide, can I be a soldier and a Christian at the same time? Mm. And then I started noticing the different soldiers that are in the Bible, and I'm like, yeah, God says it's okay to be a soldier and a Christian.
Yep, at the same time.
At the same time, yep.
Yep.
So, not the traditional way to come to know the Lord.
No, but it is interesting. I look back and I say, hey, when we witness to people or try to quote, lead them in prayer, the language that we use is so foreign. Mm-hmm. It becomes common amongst us, and I think it would do us well to really rethink how we describe to people what we want you to do.
Right.
We want you to have a relationship with God through Jesus.
It's using a different type of, because we have our own jargon, right, as Christians. Yep. Same thing with military. We have our own jargon. Mm-hmm. So it's like being able to break it down to the bare bones and say, hey, do you know Jesus? Do you have a relationship with him? That kind of thing. And instead of going, do you need to be saved? You need to be saved,
yeah, exactly.
right?
Saved from what?
Saved from what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, I thought this guy had culture really big at that time. This was in '77, and I was like, God, this guy's in the cult. I know it.
Because he talked about God and Jesus so much and in a way that you weren't used to.
Yes.
Yeah. So, John, what about you?
So I came to know the Lord when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
So the neighborhood I lived in the east side of St. Paul, there was a church, Faith Baptist, that went around. They would canvass neighborhoods, and they were having a vacation Bible school event, and so my excuse me, my dear mother decided that she was going to sign me and my brother up to go to vacation Bible school. And we're like, what the heck is vacation Bible school? Because, we grew up loosely Catholic.
Okay.
We'd go to church twice a year, Christmas and Easter. And the priest always had the same message. It was that kind of old rigmarole, right? So, but we never did like the Hail Marys and never got confirmed or anything like that. So, so very loose Catholic. And so going to vacation Bible school, and I think it was a week program, if I remember correctly.
Probably was.
So you go in there in the morning till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you go home. So that whole process of just not really understanding what it was about, but being exposed to it, and that was the biggest thing. And then being exposed to other kids my age, some of them who knew the Lord, some of them who didn't, But it wasn't until after that, because then I started going to church. I was like, hey, this is kind of fun. I like these people. These kids are, they're fun to hang around. We do cool things, as the youth group and stuff like that. And then I remember it was at a Bible camp that we went to. It's a Bible summer camp we went to. I don't remember where it was. Somewhere here in Minnesota, but I don't remember where it was. But I remember the preacher at the time standing up in front of everybody, and he had an altar call. And it was like, and I'd been, and we're talking, been exposed to this for about a year or so, and sitting there in the pew there in the Bible camp, like it was just like when he said, if you think you need the Lord, I want you to come forward, and it was like a lightning bolt went down my spine, and I was like, oh, so I stood up, not even realizing that I had stood up, and I was like, oh, well, I guess I got to go down there now because I stood up, because if I sat back down, I'd look, I was like, I'm going to look like an idiot, right? Yeah. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to go down there. And they had counselors and stuff down there, and they prayed. And I still didn't fully grasp or understand, like, why I even stood up, or it was just, but it was through the process of getting the counseling, talking to the counselors, and then going home. And then, the youth pastor was a fantastic guy. His name was Jim Webb. I still remember his name to this day. was really good at following through with people and talking to people and talking through it. And he would, so I had a lot of one-on-one time with him.
Oh,
and so he
fantastic.
kind of like mentored me, in the Christian relationship with Christ. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you went in the military as a believer. You became a believer, Diane, as you were getting ready to leave the military.
That's correct.
But you did go through the calisthenic mentally of, can I be a soldier and a Christian at the same time? That kind of thing. But John, so you went in the service as a believer.
Yep.
How did that affect your military service, or do you think it made a difference? Or how did it make a difference if it did?
I think the difference was, I think to a degree, being a Christian, I think you understand like it's not about you, right? Same with Christianity. It's not about you.
Yep.
It's about, because the idea that you represent something larger than yourself. And a lot of people don't necessarily understand that. I mean, there are Christians out there that don't necessarily understand. Like, if someone knows you're a Christian, they watch you 10 times harder.
Oh, yeah.
They want to know how you're going to react to certain situations, what language you're using, how you behave, how you interact with other people, that kind of stuff. So
Can
it's
I
the
interrupt
same
you?
thing with the military.
Don't lose your place, though.
Yeah.
But let me interrupt you. I think the reason why people look at us 10 times harder once we say that we're a Christian, I think sometimes we accuse them of saying, they're just trying to slam Christians or whatever. No, I think they genuinely want to know, is there a God?
Yes.
I think genuinely in their core being, they're hoping you're going to be different. Because they want to believe there's a God. But
Yes.
every time they've met a Christian, they've acted just like everybody else, and they go, yeah, right, this Christianity thing's a joke. So you're right, that's why they do watch us a little harder. So anyway, back to your story.
Yeah. So realizing that it's not about you and that you represent something bigger than yourself. So it's the same thing with the military. If you're in a uniform, you represent, it's not just you they're looking at. They're looking at the Air Force, the Army, the Marines, the Navy. That's who they're seeing. So if you're out there acting like a moron, that's what they're going to see.
That's good.
So
That's
it's like,
good.
so be on your best behavior. And that was one of the things they always stressed to us in the Air Force was be on your best behavior. Even if you're out in town and you're not in uniform, the haircut usually gives you away.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, so they know that you're a service member, and so always be respectful. And I'll never forget this. So I was up here for, I can't remember what it was, but I was still in the Air Force. I went into a grocery store in my uniform, and the clerk who helped me check out, I said, "Thank you, ma'am." And she looked at me, she goes, "Nobody calls me ma'am."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, well, have a good day, ma'am." And so I think it kind of blew her away. She saw the uniform, but I don't think she was expecting me to be that polite.
To her,
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
We got to be winding this up, and this has been just a great time here.
Kind of winding it up.
Kind of winding it up. Here's the thing.
Please join us
But I want to
again.
go back to just really ending with this idea of support for vets. Here-
No, this is what we're going to do.
Oh,
because
okay.
this show continues tomorrow, right here on this station at
Yeah.
noon at WAJC. We're going to finish this conversation about the network here we have. Sometimes it's organized, sometimes it's a little more loosely structured. But veterans will be respected here, and we will walk life just like we do everyone else that comes into this community. We actually, veterans get a little bit more of a yes sir, yes ma'am around here. And we invite you to come back again tomorrow at noon, hear the rest of this discussion. We're going to talk a little bit more about America's 250th. And there's going to be a quiz about testing our knowledge about U.S. history and facts.
Oh,
and we'll
boy.
see how well everyone does.
Thank you for listening to part 1 of this week's episode of Chew on This. Part 2 will air tomorrow, Tuesday at noon, on this station, WAJC. If you'd like to check out this episode's resources, as well as a great archive of past series, head over to yourliferadio.com. Select Chew on This and click on the information icon. We invite you to join us live each Wednesday night at our Forest Lake campus at 6:30 p.m. Original music in My Father's Hand was written and performed by Ron Carlson. A parting thought, as we're all learning to put missional living into practice, let's remember today, wherever we find ourselves, let's love God and love people. See you for the next Chew on This episode. The opinions expressed here are not necessarily those of the owner.